today will provide protections for unborn children
We've never
from
been
abortion.
closer to losing a fundamental constitutional right.
In early May, a draft of the Supreme Court opinion on the future of abortion rights was obtained by Politico, indicating that Roe v. Wade is likely to be overturned by the court. However, court opinions are fluid. The official decision will come down this summer, when the court rules on a Mississippi law that bans abortions at 15 weeks. It's a case that forces the court to reevaluate if abortion should be federally protected or if states have the right to limit abortion.
The Mississippi law has challenged the fundamental tenets of Roe v. Wade and even Planned Parenthood v. Casey.
Every indication is telling us that the Supreme Court is going to hand down a decision that may completely overturn abortion rights.
If the court upholds Mississippi's law, that opens the door for dozens of states to follow suit in restricting abortion access. Many already have. Soon, accessing safe reproductive care in the United States could become very complicated for at least 36 million women.
And then the question is, how far is it going to go in changing constitutional law to make that happen?
So how could this decision ripple out and be felt across the country? And what is the future of abortion rights in America?
The Supreme Court today ruled that abortion is completely a private matter to be decided by mother and doctor.
So let's just step back a second. In 1973, the Supreme Court handed down Roe v. Wade, which affirmed the right to abortion. A key piece of the Supreme Court standard is that no state can ban abortion before viability.
It's worth noting that as an underlying matter in Roe v. Wade was the sense of taking women seriously. Women's lives are interrupted, their education, careers, and the harms, physical, psychological, economic, and otherwise, when a person's not able to determine her own reproductive destiny.
2021 proved to be one of the most restrictive years for abortion in recent time, with over 100 restrictions passed. But experts say this Mississippi case, Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health, is the first significant challenge to Roe in the last 30 years. The law would ban nearly all abortions after 15 weeks. That's about 8 weeks earlier than the constitutional standard, pushing the conservative-leaning Supreme Court to take on the case.
During the Trump administration, 3 new justices were appointed, all very conservative, and they shifted the balance on the court. Both Gorsuch and Kavanaugh joined the court, and that kickstarted a number of states to try to pass abortion bans in the hopes of getting one of them up to the Supreme Court to overturn abortion rights. And then when we had Amy Coney Barrett join the court, everything went into overdrive.
Justice Barrett identifies as an originalist, a judicial philosophy she shares with at least 3 other conservative justices on the court.
I interpret the Constitution as a law, and I understand it to have the meaning that it had at the time people ratified it. Okay. So that meaning doesn't change.
And that could play a role in the court's upcoming decision.
I think most observers agree that Justice Thomas, who has openly said that Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood v. Casey should be overturned, is likely to be joined by Justices Gorsuch and Alito. Justices Kagan, Breyer, and Sotomayor are strongly in favor of Roe and Casey and would not want to cut into those precedents at all. Most of the questions have been about Justice Barrett, Justice Kavanaugh, and the Chief Justice.
But based on the draft opinion, Justices Barrett and Kavanaugh seem likely to support overturning Roe v. Wade. So what could happen this summer? The opinion of the court could still shift, but it seems the most likely outcome in this case is that the court decides to uphold Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban and overturn Roe and Casey in full.
In that case, the issue is entirely up to the states. They're allowed to ban abortion or allow abortion at any given stage.
That does not mean that there will be a nationwide ban in effect immediately. What it means is that states will have the option to support abortion rights, to ban abortion, or take on any kind of restriction that's in between those two.
And conservative state legislators have been preparing for this. In fact, 12 states have trigger laws on the books, laws that aren't enforceable yet, but would completely ban abortions if the Supreme Court overturns Roe. And even states without these trigger laws are very likely to pass new bans, like in Oklahoma, where the